Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this workshop where we're going to talk about the number one thing that you need to focus on to grow your business right now. I'm super excited that you're here and that we're going to talk about this because I think it's really important, especially when a lot of people are feeling stressed about what's happening right now. So we're going to get centered and focused, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do because I want to make sure that your business is not just surviving, but that it is thriving. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Shana DeWitt. I'm a business coach and strategist for women that want to launch or transition their business to do work that really lights them up. Now, I understand a lot about transition because this is my third business, not because I'm flighty, but because this was actually the journey that I needed to take to do the work that I believe that I'm meant here to do. So in my other life, I was a lead user interface designer and a art director at a Fortune 100 company. But the job was great, and then I wasn't feeling very fulfilled creatively. I was just looking at my life and thinking, this is not what I want to do. I'm not the mom I want to be. I don't have any, the freedom that I want, and I don't feel fulfilled in my career. And so then it was like, what do I do now? I don't know what to do. And the fears of like, is this crazy to quit this job? Is it what should I do? And so that's why I really love helping women make those same kind of transitions so that they can repackage their experience and their expertise to do the work that they're also meant here to do. Because I know what it feels like to think good enough is just not good enough anymore. And that's why it's really important to me to create more choices. And essentially, that's what I'm doing. I am helping women create more choices about how they want to live their lives by helping them build a business that will support that. So today, that's what I'm here to do with you guys because I want you to have that same kind of freedom and flexibility. And that's going to come as you're able to be successful and have more clients. So I am sharing with you the number one thing that you need to focus on to grow your business right now. I believe the number one thing is content. So I know you may be really busy or you may be unsure, or maybe you're feeling like this is a time when you need to make a transition. Whatever the case, content is the number one way to do that. Content's the best way to establish your expertise and connect with potential clients. But the key to using content effectively, whether that be a blog post, a newsletter, or a social media post, is that you have to be very clear on who you are, what you do, and who you do it for, so that you can easily speak to your potential clients' pain points and offer them a solution. Because no matter what is happening in the world, and the reason why this matters, getting really clear on who you are, what you do, and who you do it for matters more than ever before, is because business hasn't changed. It's all about solving a problem. In fact, pain points are higher now than ever before. And the only thing that really has changed is how you speak about the pain points. So this is really about making tweaks and speaking to what is really bothering people right now, what they're really feeling. It's not about changing everything that you've done. And so we're going to talk more about how to do that. So getting really clear on what it is that you do, and then knowing how to tweak that to speak to people in the way that they need to hear it right now. It really reminds me a lot of my children. So I have a 13-year-old and a 4-year-old, and we can be talking about the same subject, but the way that I talk to them about that is very different. And the way that they express things to me is also very different. So if the pain point is being tired, the way that my 4-year-old is going to express that is very different than the way my 13-year-old is going to express that. So therefore, the way that I speak to that and what they need and what I need them to do is also going to be very different. And you may hear my 4-year-old in the background right now. That's part of all of this transition, right? So in business, what we want our content to do is give value, solve a problem, and build relationships. That's all we're here to do. As a business, our number one thing is that we solve problems. And in our content, we can give value, solve problems, and build relationships. And that is how we're going to actually connect with more clients. So we're going to dive into more of what exactly that looks like, and then I'm going to show you my formula for creating captions that convert. So the first step in getting clear and being able to communicate that is knowing what your mission is. Now, your mission is the thing that you're doing right now in its most simple form. So you could be a business coach, you could be a massage therapist, you could be a graphic designer. It's just very straightforward what it is that you do. And the reason why is because how you do this and who you do this for can shift and change. But it is very solid, it's very comforting. It will give you a point of reference to kind of hold you steady when you know that your mission has not changed. So for me, as I mentioned in the beginning, my mission is to help women create successful businesses so that they have more choices. And in one of my businesses, I did that by creating web designs and branding packages. And then in this business that I have now, I'm still have the same mission. I'm still helping women create these choices in these businesses, but the way that I'm doing it is very different. Now I do this by having coaching packages, and we really work on people's strategy and their messaging and making sure that they have someone to hold them accountable to actually putting some action behind that strategy. But the mission, as you can see, is not different. And even inside of my studio, my design studio that I did the same things. So I was still doing a web design and I was still doing branding packages, but those packages changed. They were different and my ideal client changed. I used to focus on makers and then I focused more on people that were in health and wellness. And so that really shifted. So what I'm saying is that when you are clear on what your mission is, then it gives you that freedom to still feel grounded while you think, well, it's okay for me to shift and do things differently, but just knowing that you know what it is that you're actually doing. The second step is you have to understand your vision. Now, often when I talk to people about their vision, they feel like, oh, you're talking about this bigger, grander, dreamy idea. And while that is really great and we all need those, what I'm specifically talking about is how your mission affects the people that you work with. So this means you want to know what is that one big transformation that you get your clients. Okay, how do you solve their problem? It's how your mission, so the thing that you do, how does it solve people's problems? Step 3 is the way that you can actually shift your content, and this is the way that you can be super relevant right now. So I want you to ask yourself, what is that transformation that you get your clients? Why is it important? And then why is it even more important right now? Because this is how you can figure out how to shift, how to really speak to people's pain points without feeling like you have to do something different. I'm going to give you an example of a friend of mine, and she's a massage therapist, and so she has a in-person service. She has a brick and mortar place, and obviously she can't actually do that while we are having this current COVID-19 situation. But what she does on her social media and her content is not only does she talk about massage therapy, but she's really clear on her mission, which is teaching people how to have self-care. So how to take care of, stress and physical pains in their body in a natural way. So she delivers that mission by doing these services, which would be the massages that she gives. But her other service is that she puts out content of value, right? So she's giving value and she's building relationships by telling people how to use foam rollers to do self-care at home. So now in this current situation, she's not doing anything different. Her mission is still the same. She's still telling people, she's still giving people value and talking about having self-care and taking care of managing your stress and your body ailments without having, medication and things like that. But the way that she is talking about it is really particular to people's pain points right now. So the way that she can shift her content is thinking about all that value that she's put out about rollers and self-care and tips and tricks about how to do things at home, but talking about them in a way that is relevant to people's current situations and pain points, which would include thinking about like the person that is now having to work at home. So working at your kitchen table can often be not as comfortable as your, perfectly measured desk situation that you might have in your corporate office. So she can say things like, hey, are you having some really bad back pain due to working at your kitchen table, or like has your working at your kitchen table become a real pain in the back? And then she can tell them like, I totally understand that. I've got some great tips to help you manage that pain at home right now. Let me show you how. And she can point them to any of the content that she's created. She can ask people to, give her questions and things like that. So she is offering value, building relationships while staying true to her mission. She's only tweaking it to people's immediate pain points. So while this particular client may have come in before because they just needed a little extra relaxation, or maybe they were having a little back pain, now they're really uncomfortable and they're really stressed because they're having to work at their kitchen table and their kids won't be quiet and they're creeping across the floor like this or something like that. So that is an example of a way that when we are very clear about our mission and our vision, then we can ask ourselves, how is what I'm doing even more important right now, and make these small shifts to our content. Petra McDougall is one of my coaching clients, and she has a business called the Women's Spirit Boutique. And the thing that she has been promoting is having these really great workshops. So she helps women get connected with their higher self, who she calls a spirit model. And this is that version of yourself that feels really good, where you're like, I'm on fire today. Like, I feel good. I feel like I'm a good mom, and you just feel like so good about yourself. And so she helps women learn how to connect with that on a day-to-day basis so that they feel less stress, so that they are making good decisions, and it really carries over in their personal life and their business life. So before, her pain point was talking to women, like saying things like, maybe you are needing to take out some time for yourself, or maybe it's been a long time since you've been able to slow down enough to realize like what really makes you happy and what brings you joy, really talking about that mom life kind of balance, and encouraging people to reconnect with that joy through this workshop. But now people's highest pain point is a little bit different. So Petra's mission is the same. She's still doing this workshop, but she's changed it to a different format. So her format now is to create these events, these happy hours, because the focus is the same. It's all about connecting with joy, but instead of focusing on just taking out some time and being hectic in your life, she's talking about, hey, let's take out some time and get reconnected with our joy, with our friends, right? Because people are like, I just need a break. Like, I need a break from everything right now. And I want to be social, and I want to laugh, and I want to have a good time. And so she has not changed her mission, and she hasn't even changed her service. All she's done is made one small tweak by making it just one workshop, to making it this really fun, inclusive virtual event that speaks to people's pain point, which is like, I need some girl time. I want to have fun. And that's just a really good example of like this small tweak and how it makes all the difference when you can speak to the exact thing that people need right now. So again, Petra is giving value, she's solving a problem, and she's building relationships. And that's exactly what you have to do with your content. But you may not know exactly how to translate that into the actual content. Like, what should you say? And so I'm going to share with you this pyramid that will help you always know what to say on social. So at the top of the pyramid, that's always going to be your client's number one pain point. So this is the number one problem that you solve. And underneath that, supporting that triangle, are the categories of content that explain who you are, what you do, and who you do it for, as related to the number one pain point. So this is really the key here. A lot of people get very caught up in categories and are like, I can't post anything, I don't know what my categories are. Your categories only need to support the number one pain point, and it's the problem that you solve. So we're going to break down the pain point a little bit, because some things that I notice that people often question, or they kind of get stuck here, is that they offer a service, but it's the alsos and others that kind of pull them back. So they're not really sure. They're like, but my clients feel empowered, and my clients get confidence, and things like that. And they're not sure how to talk about the pain point without also talking about that stuff. So they feel kind of shy. Like, you mean I can't talk about this, or I have to leave all of this out? And that's not the point at all. But here's what I want you to understand is that all of those things are great. Feeling confident, all of that is good. If you are in health and wellness, maybe you work with people's bodies, like losing weight is the pain point. That's the thing that they really want. But that learning how to cook meals, finding new recipes, getting in good routines, feeling confident, like all of those things are so important and valuable. And they're going to talk about all of those important and valuable things. But what they're going to pay you for is that they want to lose weight. So I want you to think about your mission and the transformation you give people, but consider your ideal client. What are they sitting on their computer doing a Google search for? Because I guarantee you that it's not, I want to feel empowered, right? That's not it. It is something very specific. And if you really want to get more clients and grow your business, you have to speak to that specific thing. So I'm going to give you an example of a website designer. So a website designer, their client is going to be looking to get a website because they want to grow their business online. But their particular client, we're going to niche in a little bit. Their particular client is in the health and wellness industry. They are either having a brick and mortar and wanting to go and, have some online marketing for that business or grow an online business. They're really overwhelmed. They don't know anything about web design. They've got a small budget. They just don't know where to start. So we want to make sure that we are talking to that main pain point, which is getting a website, but we want to use all of our content categories to really speak to the pain points and the specific needs of our ideal client so that they know who we are, what we do, and who we do it for. So when they read this content, they're like, this is the exact person that I need to hire. So for this example, we have a positioning statement, or this would be your online bio, is that I'm a Squarespace web designer for women in the health and wellness industry who need an easy to manage website that grows their business. So these content categories are going to speak to this number one pain point. The first category is your brand story. This shares your expertise and your experience and tells people why you love to do what you do. Now, a lot of people feel like, I need to have content that's more personal. It's got to be personal. If people don't see something interesting about me that feels relatable, then they're not going to want to hire me. And so they're like, I have to have a coffee category or a travel category, or they beat themselves up and say, I don't have any categories. I can't post anything because I'm not interesting. And what I want to tell you is this. Nobody cares about your coffee or your dog or your travel experience. And I know that sounds really harsh, but they don't care about it unless it relates to their pain point. They want to know all about you, but only as it relates to them and what they are looking for. So there are ways to create content that is personal, that is relatable, that will identify with them. But the reason for doing that, and I'm going to show you how, the reason for doing that is because they want to know how it relates to them. Because every person, and if you don't remember anything else out of this workshop, remember this, every person wants to feel like they are seen and heard and understood. This is why if you are hearing people say, well, you only have to be 2 or 3 steps ahead of somebody to help somebody, that is really true. And the reason why is because they want to know that you understand them. And often a person who is 20 steps past where you are, they don't seem relatable. You don't feel like they understand where you are. And you want to pay the person that you feel like is going to understand your pain point, because then you feel like you are confident in the fact that they can help you. So a couple examples of how this would work would be my brand story. For example, in the beginning of this workshop, I shared with you why I love helping people that are going through transitions, because I went through so much transition, right? And how this repackaging of my expertise and branding has really come across into the way that I help people. And so if you're a person and you're reading this content about how I felt pulled to do something else, but I just wasn't sure what it was, and how it took me a while to figure out who my ideal client was, then you're going to be like, that sounds like me. She understands what I'm going through, or she knows what it's like to go from corporate to working by yourself and how scary that is. And so you would want to hire me. And that same idea will work for you. It's just sharing your expertise and experience as it relates to your ideal client and their pain point. Another example is, let's take the coffee shop idea, because I know that it's really easy to get a stock photo of a coffee shop, right? So I probably all have them. I know I do. But you want to write a caption, so create some content for this, some context around the image that is going to relate back to your client and the pain point they're having, because nobody cares what your favorite latte is from Starbucks. But if you create a story around that that says that you are loving that you can come to Starbucks and drink your coffee and work on your clients' websites. And that's why you create websites for your clients that are super easy to manage and keep updated all by themselves, so that they have more freedom and flexibility to do the work they love, or go places that they want to go, or do the other things that they want to do, instead of being tied to this website and its upkeep. So then people are relating to that, because they're thinking, man, I really didn't want to be tied to a website. I didn't know that it could be easy, or she really understands that I don't want to spend all my time working on this website. So the next category is share what you know in a way that speaks to your potential client's pain point and establishes your expertise through creating value posts. Value posts are anything that you share that is really going to give that person some information. So it's exactly what it says. It's posts that have value. This could be Tip Tuesdays. These can be videos that you create. This could be like my friend who was creating videos talking about how to use these roller balls, or these foam rollers, anything like that. But this gives you an opportunity to really show people that you know your stuff. So an example of this for our website designer would be that they know their person is looking for a inexpensive site. We don't want to say like, this person really needs a cheap site. So this person is looking for something that is budget friendly. And so that would naturally mean that Squarespace would be a good option. So this person is a Squarespace designer, so they want to talk about that. So what they can do is they can share information about why Squarespace is so easy to manage. They can talk about why it's budget friendly. They can talk about 3 things that they love about Squarespace sites versus WordPress, like anything that's going to educate their potential client, because what they're doing is setting them up to want to work together, because they're telling them that they know their stuff. And they're also talking about our next category, which is pain points and objections. So every person has pain points. So this is the thing that they need, but then they also have objections that keep them from actually taking the next step to solve their problem. I know that when I was designing websites, often a big objection, which was also a pain point, is that people would assume that it was going to be this long, drawn out, really miserable, soul-sucking process. And I had lots of clients that had had that exact same experience working with another designer. So I would often talk about how easy I make it, how simple my process is. And I would talk about how I could turn a website around in 7 days. And that is something that really resonated with people, because I just went ahead and spoke directly to their pain point and their objections, making them be an easy yes to working together. So think about that. What are pain points and objections of your clients? And how can you speak directly to those in your post? And the last category is sales. So a lot of people really hate this when they feel like, oh, I don't want to be salesy. I hate to sell and to ask and these kind of things. But really, if you've decided to be of service, it's your job to sell, and sell often, because all you're doing is telling people how you can solve their problem. That's it. That's all that it is. And so we just want to make sure that we are always doing that, telling people how we can solve their problem by talking about the exact services that we have, sharing testimonials, and always making sure that we're asking them to work with us and telling them what the next step is. So that could be click the link in my bio. And on Facebook, it could be here's a link to sign up for a free call, whatever it is. That's the thing that you want to tell people about how to work with you and what that next step is going to look like. So next I want to share with you a formula that I have for writing captions that I find is really straightforward and simple, and most importantly, it's effective. So it's a 4-step process. Number 1 is start with a question that relates to the person's pain point. Now you may notice that when you scroll through Instagram that it will have just like one little line of copy at the top. That's why it's got to be good. It's got to be really good. And the next thing you want to do is tell a story about the pain point. Number 3 is talk about the transformation and solution to the pain point. And number 4 is invite people to let you solve their problem. This is also known as a call to action, right? And here's an example of how this works together. And I also want to tell you that, this formula works for any kind of content. It works for social media posts, it works for your newsletters, it works for blog posts. So we're going to start with a hook, which is starting with that question that relates to the pain point. In this example, for our website designer, we'll say, do you need a website but have no idea where to start? Because a lot of people will be like, yeah, that's me. I really have no idea where to start. The next part is to tell a story about the pain point. And the example is, it can be totally overwhelming with so many options for creating a website like WordPress, Squarespace, Shopify, and Wix. Decision fatigue is one of the biggest barriers to getting the site you need to start connecting with clients online and growing your biz. Number 3 is talk about the transformation and the solution. So our next part of cover copy is going to say, I love helping my clients figure out the right platform for them. In a free discovery call, I can tell you what kind of website will serve your unique business and needs best so that you can take the next best step for you. And here we're doing the invitation. So this is where we pitch and we say, if you are ready to ditch the overwhelm and finally get your website up and working for you, I would love to chat. Send me a DM to set up your free call. So this process, this formula will work with all different kinds of content, and it will work with every one of those categories that we talked about before. So I have had a lot of people tell me that I make this look really, really easy, and don't let that make you feel bad if it does. I just have had a lot of practice and I love this stuff, and I've got over 15 years of experience in branding. So it just all comes together in a really great way. But if you need some extra support, I completely understand. I really want you to feel really solid in your content strategy. So if you would like to get 24 hours of free coaching via Voxer, I would love to offer that to you. If you haven't heard of Voxer before, it's a really great platform that I like to use. It's an app that you can download on your phone, and I use this with my coaching clients. This way they have a coach in their back pocket all the time. So you just message each other back and forth. So it's really easy and convenient just to drop a voice message. And then you can also do photos and text and things like that if you would like. And all you have to do to take me up on this offer is download the Voxer app on your phone and send me a message at Shana DeWitt. And then you'll get your free 24 hours of coaching so that we can really master your content. Some other things that we could talk about is maybe you're feeling kind of like Petra, or maybe the example of the massage therapist. You might want to do a little bit of shifting and you're unsure about that. So we can help work that out together to make sure that you are thriving no matter what. And if you would like to connect with me, you can do that at ShanaDeWitt.com. That's my website. Or you can follow me on Instagram at Shana_DeWitt. And you can find me as the host of the Be Heard podcast, where I talk to other entrepreneurs about how they were able to finally do the work that really lights them up, just like I found the work that lights me up. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll make sure to try to answer all of those. And if you need to go a little bit deeper on your brand foundation, so really getting clear on that first step, your mission, I'm also going to link an extra resource there so that you can dive into what I call your brand foundations, and that's your mission, vision, values, ethos, and also that positioning statement, which will become your bio for all of your social media and things. So thank you so much for taking the time to join me today, and I hope that you have found this really helpful so that you can thrive no matter what, even if it's a pandemic.